Okay, number one, no one has any. No, Renad. Renad has number one. Okay. And number one, Renad, again, we have just to answer many questions regarding the cross-text connection, Renad. So here he said, based on the text, how would the author of text 2 most likely regard the perspective of bluegrass purists as described in text 1? So I'm going to the point of view. Then I'm going to find how he's going to reply to the perspective of the bluegrass purist. So we can find the perspective of bluegrass purist up, and you can just reply for it. Let's find. So here said, bluegrass isn't simply an extension of folk tradition into the era of recorded music. In reality, Bill Moore created the bluegrass sound in the 1940s by combining Southern folk music with commercial genre that had arisen only a few decades before, such as jazz and blues. Since bluegrass has always been a mixed genre, contemporary bluegrass musician shouldn't be forbidden from incorporating it into its influences from rock and other mainstream genres. So now he mentioned that the bluegrass is a kind of a mixed genre between different kinds of genres of music. Let's look at the purists, and the purists are here. He said, such purists as they are known regard the recording of Bill Moore, which established the bluegrass sound in the 1940s, as a standard against which the genre should still be measured. Take care. Here they said that the bluegrass is a kind of standard. It's not a kind of mixed genre. It's not a kind of mixed genre. So if we're gonna say that text 2 is gonna say about this part as inconsistent, maybe it's inconsistent. Since the bluegrass purists themselves enjoy other musical genre, he didn't speak about enjoyment. He speaks about that they thought that it's a kind of standard against what the genre should still be measured. Standard one. It's not a kind of mixture. So they didn't talk about the enjoyment. B, as unrealistic. Maybe they're going to say that I'm not going to accept this point of view. Okay. Since the bluegrass purists have no way of enforcing their musical preferences, they didn't talk about any kind of enforcement. They didn't talk about any kind of enforcement. C, as short-sighted, maybe, because bluegrass could enlarge its audience by including influences from mainstream genre. I'm not talking about the audiences now. I'm talking about that it's a kind of standard, that no mixture. D, as illogical. Okay, take care. The first part for A, B, C, and D is right. The problem in the explanation, because the purists overlook crucial aspects of how bluegrass sound first originated. Yes, they are talking about that it's a standard. So they are talking about the origin of this bluegrass that is not a kind of mixture. No, it's a standard one. Clear in it?
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, we have it with Shahd. He said, based on the text, what would Lisa Trevor, text 2, most likely say about the interpretation presented in the underlined portion of text 1? So the only thing that I need to know the point of view here, then how is going to reply to the underlined part. You can take the full sentence, but the main thing is the underlined part. Text 2, Shahdi said, art historian and archaeologist Lisa Trevor has argued that the identifiable people may inadvertently, means unintentionally, disregard the creativity of the object's creators. Much ceramic vessels travel, argue, or are as art that it relate free their imagination. It's not relate to concrete. It's relate to abstract. Abstract, like freedom, love, sadness. So let's find how he's gonna reply to this one. I'm gonna take it. No, it wasn't homework. They solved, and even you didn't send it, Abdullah.
I sent it or I didn't send it?
You didn't.
When was
didn't.
it?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday, طيب. Yesterday, Mr. I didn't see the course, Mr. Like I
Okay.
saw it like 2 hours ago. Did you say something about solving something?
Yeah, they solved it. It was a test, and I put it in the group, Abdullah. Even if
Mr.
it's homework, did you solve it?
Mr. I didn't see the test itself. I just saw the session. I entered the session.
Yeah, I know that you entered the session. I'm talking about that yesterday. We took 2 sheets. If you look at yesterday, please look at it. You have extra question 2 for the cross-text connection, and you have the craft and structure test. What did you do with them?
So I should solve them.
What do you think, Abdullah?
So I saw the session. That's it. I
Even
didn't
Muhammad,
think of solving
even
them.
Muhammad Muhammad al-Muqayyid wrote for you that the teacher will not accept, and you told me that I will not have internet. Then I told you, okay,
I told you that solve it later.
Yeah, I told you solve whatever.
Yes,
I'm gonna put later.
solve it later, yeah.
Huh?
Why didn't you not solve it?
I remembered now, yeah, طيب.
And you stopped us while we are explaining.
At least he remembered now, not after 30 questions.
Okay.
30 questions?
Let me continue. Let me continue. So the point of view of text 2, as we said, that they are talking about the art that they are making. It's a kind of free of imagination that talk about abstract concept. Let's find out. Take care. I want how is going to reply to the underlined part, but I'm going to read the full sentence. These mold-made sculptures present plants, animals, and human faces. These are concrete, not abstract, in precise ways. Vessels representing human faces are so detailed that scholars have interpreted facial markings to represent scars and other skin irregularities. Down, he said that the free imagination. So they are not scars. There are no skin irregularities. It's a kind of abstract concept. Let's find. So here is going to say markings on depiction of human faces. Text 2 is going to say that. Markings on depiction of human faces are not necessarily intended. Yes, because it's abstract concept according to them, to portray particular details about the physical appearance of individual. Why? Because they are talking about abstract concept. So if they put scars or irregularity in their skin, according to text 2, this doesn't mean that they have problem. No, it's abstract. Sorry. B. Some vessels, this text 2 is going to say that some vessels may have been damaged. Okay, wait. He didn't talk about any kind of destruction that happened to the vessels, text 2. During their excavation and thus provide little insight into Moorish culture. No. He said that they are drawing free their imagination and drawing their concept using abstract stuff. Depiction of human faces, this text 2, what he's going to say, Shah. Depiction of human faces are significantly more realistic. No, he didn't say more realistic. He said abstract. So they're not going to be concrete. D. It's likely that some depiction of human faces with extensive marking are intended? No, they don't intend. They are drawing it as abstract, not intended. Clear, Shah?
Yes.
Okay. Number 3, Renat. Vocab, Renat. He said, which choice complete the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? As I told you, we have 2 ways to solve the vocab. Here we need to fill in the blanks. Number one, to find the connotation, positive or negative. Positive or negative. Let's find reinforcing, to reinforce something, it's neutral. Anticipating, the same thing. Optimizing, serve as an ideal example. This can be positive. This can be positive. Transcending, going beyond limits. Also it can be positive, but I can't use the connotation right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the context clue. I'm going to read the sentence. If I find examples, synonym, antonym, examples, whatever. The work of molecular biophysics Enric MD Lacruz is known for traditional. Take care. I want something to talk about traditional boundaries between academic discipline. Okay, now do we need neutral or positive? The university laboratory that De La Cruz runs includes engineers, biologists, chemists, and physics. And the research the lab produces make us use of insights and techniques from all those fields. Wait, I need positive. I need positive, not neutral. So I'm between optimizing or transcending. If we are gonna say optimizing means serve as an ideal example, this is not an ideal example, not a perfect example, because he include engineers with biologists, with chemists, with physics. Oh my God, different fields together. How one of the academic discipline to include in the university, to include all of these together. If you're going to be engineering, engineer, biology, biologist, chemist, chemist, physics, physics. It's not high school. It's a university. So that means it's going beyond limits. It's something that doesn't happen before. So transcending. Clear, Renette?
But he's talking about boundaries. So
About?
I chose it because it makes sense that he's reinforcing boundaries between academic disciplines. It has nothing to do with going above limits or under.
Okay, yeah. So you choose reinforcing. Is that right?
Yes, I chose reinforcing.
Okay, tell me why again? Because I didn't hear you.
Because he was going to add traditional boundaries between academic disciplines. He did not not speak about going beyond limits, or he did not talk about limits.
Okay, do you know the meaning of reinforce?
Yes, to add, to strengthen, to...
Strengthen, excellent. Okay, let me write it. Then I'm gonna read it with you, okay? Take care, also reinforcing can be positive now. Strengthening it. Do you find that he is strengthening traditional? Is this a kind of tradition? Hello?
I don't get it. No.
Again.
To
the university to include engineer, biologist, chemist, and physics. Is this tradition?
No.
Okay,
but
thank
he
you.
Makes boundaries. So he's
yes, I know that he makes boundaries, but they are not traditional. So how are we going to say that the strength in traditional? Clear? But he is going beyond the tradition boundaries. Going beyond. This is a first kind of pioneer project for him, going beyond traditional boundaries. Clear, Renat, now or still? Renat, I'm waiting your answer. Clear or still? Going beyond tradition.
Yes, yes, I get
Okay. Number 4, Muhammad Abul Khair, Shahd, Rama is not here, and Muhammad Abul Khair is not here, and Renat. So let's find number 4. Which choice best state the function of the underlying portion in the text as a whole? Thank you. The teacher told us when we are talking about the underline or the function of the underlying sentence, we concentrate on it. The answer is in it. You can precede it, but the answer is in it. Okay, let's find. However, the density taken with the X-ray evidence suggests very strongly that there are two. The problem that he said, however, so there is something contradicted before. May I read before? No problem. But the main thing that he said, that there are two. And even I don't know who are, or the density you take with the X-ray suggests very strongly that there are two. To what? I don't know. So let's read the sentence before. It has often been assumed that since there was only one chain in the chemical formula, there would only be one structure unit. Again, I don't know one chain of what, two of what. Let's take a sentence before. These two chains are both coiled around the common fiber axis. Again, I don't know what kind of chains that they're talking about. Let's go up. The first feature of our structure, which is of biological interest, is that it consists not of one chain, but of two. So we talk about something bio that consists not of one and two, and here is stress that there are two. Here is stress that there are two. Okay. The answer is in that part. The answer is in that part. It established that DNA, maybe they are talking about DNA because it consists of two, yes. It's the molecule that carries the genetic information, but here it didn't say anything about genetic information. He said only a number, two. Only a number. It presents an alternate hypothesis about the composition of a nucleotide. Is not the composition. He talked about not even the components. He talked about the number. Two, a number. It provides support for the author claim about the number of chains, maybe in a molecule of DNA. I don't know that they are talking about DNA or not, but there is number. And here he said that there are two. It confirmed the relationship between the density of DNA, he mentioned density, and the non-chemical form of DNA. He doesn't talk about any non-chemical formula. And there is no kind of relation. He said only, however, the density taken with the X-ray evidence suggests very strongly that there are two. So I mainly know that he's talking about the number. Shahd, clear?
Yes.
Okay. Rama is not here. Renat, clear?
Yes.
Where's Abdullah? I think Abdullah is outside also. Yes, he's here. Okay. Number 5 with al-muqayyad. Again, muqayyad, the underlying portion, the function. So the main thing muqayyad here is the underlying part. You're going to find the answer in it. Okay, let's read it. If the actual order of the bases on one of the pair of chains were given, this relates to that, I think, but we're not going to relate anything. Each question alone. One could write down the exact order of the bases on the other one. Okay, so if we have one pair of the chains, we're going to know the order of the other one because of the specific pairing. Thus, one change is, as it were, the complement. So one chain complete of the other. And it DNA molecule might duplicate itself. Okay. So It confirmed that the nucleotide sequences are known for most molecules of DNA. At first, we're not talking about nucleotide. I'm talking about chain. And he didn't say that they are known. He said that if you have the order, the exact order of one, you were going to know the other. It countered the claim, opposite the claim, that the sequence of bases along a chain can occur in order. I took it out. If they give me the order, I'm going to go the other. And there is no kind of counter argument. It supports the claim that the phosphate sugar backbone, that I never talk about it here, of the author model is completely regular. I don't know. He didn't talk about the phosphate sugar backbone. It emphasized how one chain of DNA, yes, this is what he said. Thus, one chain is, and he talked about the chain of DNA, may serve as a template. Yes, if you know one, the order in one, you're going to know the other. So it's a template to be copied, duplicate during DNA replication. So the answer is D. Muqayyad, clear?
Yeah. Am I the only one who got this wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
No, and Renad, I'm sorry. Renad, clear?
Yes, clear.
Let's go to number 6, and I have Shah. Shah. Again, the function of the underlying sentence. The function of the underlying sentence. Again, the function of the underlying, the answer in it, except that he relates to whatever before or after. Here he said, let us think in offices, in omnibuses, while we are standing in the crowd watching Coronation and Lord Mayor shows. Let us think in the gallery of the House of Commons, in the law court. Let us think at baptism and marriages and funeral. So look now at the repetition of let us think, let us think, let us think, Shah. So here, it emphasizes how novel the challenge faced by women is. We didn't talk about any challenges for women. He said, let us think only. No challenges, no trouble. It emphasized how pervasive means spreading, and the need for critical reflection. Yes, let us think, critical thinking, critical reflection. It can be let us think, critical thinking, critical reflection. It emphasized how complex the political and social issue of the day are. I know that there is social, baptism, funeral, marriages. Political offices is not politic. Omnibuses is not. Maybe the Lord Mayor, but it shows. No. This is wrong. And even it doesn't show that it's complicated. It emphasized how enjoyable the career possibility for women are. I know that include careers, but there are places, I'm sorry. There are places, not career. And we are not talking, he said, let us for the women, but we're not talking about career possibilities. So the answer is B. Clear, chat?
Yes.
Number 7, I have Muhammad Abul Khair is not here. I have Shah. I have Rama not here. Only. So both of them are not here. No Shahd is here. Which choice best to state the main purpose of the text? Thank you. You told us that main purpose, sentence plus sentence. And you're going to find the answer on them. No need to read the whole paragraph. Okay, let's find. He said, this governed, I think. I made it wrong. What covered? Governed Sydney by the Sterling Center for Space Engineering Research. The event can be governed or covered. Okay. The event brought robotics experts, lunar scientists, and government agencies that are all working to make space mining a reality. Okay, the last sentence. Another commercial venture that sprung up in 2012, Golden Spike, Colorado. Here it's talk about another company will offering trips to the moon. And they said another. And here it's talk about space mining to the moon. including to potential lunar miners. Okay. It notes the technological advances that make space mining possible. I think space mining possible, okay, because look at space mining. Space mining. But does he talk only about technology advances like what we were in the past and what will happen later? No, no, no. We are in the future, actually. It provides evidence of the growing interest in space mining. He talked about space mining, as we said. Growing interest because he said another company. And here he mentioned many things. He mentioned mining companies, robotic expert, lunar scientists, government agencies, and all of them work for space mining to make it a reality. So growing interest in space mining. It emphasized the large profits to be made from space mining. No, he didn't talk about any kind of money. Nothing mentioned the money. It highlighted the diverse way to carry out space mining operation. He didn't talk about operation. He just talked about that they are interested in space mining. Shahd, clear?
Yes.
Okay. Number 8, alhamdulillah, all of you got it right. Yes. Number 9, the main purpose again. I have Muhammad Abul Khair, Shahd, and Renee. Which choice best state the main purpose of the text? First sentence, last sentence. Here he said another, again, another means that he talked about something before. Another possible candidate, both in terms of timing and geographical location, is Ecuador's Culatua, estimated to have last erupted between 1147 and 1320 CE. I don't know actually it's another possible candidate for what, but let's go here. That they suggest further strengthen the case that Samalas was responsible for the medieval year without summer in 1258 CE. So another possible candidate for the year without summer, for the ice that spread around the earth. Okay. It persuades that powerful volcanic eruption occur frequently. No, he didn't say that it occurred. He said last erupted, mean the last time that it's erupted in it. Doesn't mean that it extend. It informed that the effects of volcanic eruption can last for centuries. Again, here last is a verb. And here he said that this volcano, the last eruption for it in that age or in that time, not last for centuries, extend for centuries, the same meaning of age. It implies that scientists know of other volcanoes, another, and here talk about volcano. Here talk about the volcano. And here he said other volcanoes, another possible candidate. And here he talk about Samalas. Yes, erupting during the Middle Ages, maybe, because he said medieval, middle, and this age is in the Middle Age, and this in the Middle Age. It argued that other volcanoes, okay, other volcanoes can be, have calidors. Calidors means opening that are very large. We didn't talk about the opening. So the answer is C. Shahd, clear?
Yes.
Renat, clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Number 10.
Mr. ممكن ما
Yes,
قلتش
you are
clear
lagging.
كل
بتقولي إيه يا رنات؟
ممكن ما قلتش clear كل مرة.
لا 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 لا، لازم تقولي عشان اعرف اللي انت فاهمه، عشان تعملي ديسكشن معايا. سو انا بحب اسمع صوتك يا رينات. تمنعي عني الفرصه دي؟
ما أنا مش عايزة أسمعه في الريكورد.
معلش معلش، لازم اتاكد ان انت صح معايا. اكتبوا لي اكتبي لي، اعملي ايه؟ بصي، اول ما يجي السؤال اللي انت عامله فيه غلط اعملي ثامب اب وانا هفهم ان انت صح معايا. لا مش دلوقتي، اما اقول كلير اعملي ثامب اب. شيلي الثامب اب ده، هسالك كلير بعدين ولا لا. بص تلاقيها مش عارف تشيله. لا شيلته خلاص. اوكي. Again, the function of the underlying portion in the text. Who got this one? Shah? المقيد and Renat. They underline. So the answer isn't it, except in the one here, he told you that relate to after, relate to before. According to Tamer, 1988 and others, according to one and others. So this is their perspective, point of view. Gift-giving represents a symbolic ritual whereby gift givers attempt to signal their positive attitudes toward the intended recipients and their willingness to invest resources in a future relationship. So this is their explanation. For whom? For Tamer and others. So it offers an explanation, yes. According to Tamer, we have to work hard. So this is my explanation. According to Tamer, the question be answered according to read carefully the underlined part. This is my explanation. It introduces an argument. There is no kind of argument here. It's just a kind of explanation. It question a motive, nothing, no motivation. Maybe someone is going to say, no, there is a motivation. Why? Because here he said the attempt to signal the positive attitude. But where is the question? We're not questioning anything here. It support a conclusion. So support the conclusion. So let's find the conclusion now, because it's related to what come after. In this sense, gift givers may be motivated to spend more money on a gift in order to send a stronger signal to their intended recipient. As for gift recipient, they may not construe smaller, larger gifts as representing smaller, larger signals thoughtfulness and consideration. Wait, teacher. No, it's not support the conclusion. It's better to say that there's a kind of explanation for Tamer and others. Shahd, clear?
Yes.
Muqayyad, clear?
Yeah.
Renat, clear? Thumb up, thumb up. Okay. Erase it now. Erase it. Number 11. Who has number 11? Shahd. I need the main purpose, Shahd, first sentence, last sentence. And you can revise it. You're going to find the answer in. Earlier this year, a series of papers in the Lance reported that 85% of the $265 billion spent each year on medical research is wasted. Okay, so he's talking about that this kind of money is wasted on medical research. Let's find out. The center will explore what are the best ways to make scientific investigation more reliable and efficient. So do you want to solve this kind of waste by making the scientific or the medical research more reliable and efficient? So it argued that scientific studies need to be more efficient. Yes. Medical research, scientific investigations, so scientific studies, more efficient. Yes. It described the result of scientific study. I know that I talk about scientific study, but no results. He needs to solve the problem of waste money. It explained the history of scientific inquiry. We're talking about scientific inquiry, but where's the history? It highlights the fraudulent. Fraudulent means problem. Nature. Yes, he took here about the problem. Of many research studies, he talked about the problem, but down he talked about how we solve this problem. So it's better to say A. Clear, Shah?
Yes.
Number 12, also for Shah. Again, Shah. The main purpose. First sentence, last sentence. It said the Al Gather restaurant was in Sheridan Road near Devon Avenue. This is setting. Place. Okay, I'm sorry. The last year, but there is and we said that there is and just take a sentence before. Shah. So on nearly every other page, there was some margin notation, either in ink or in very hard pencil. He talked about the page that it has margin notation in ink or pencil, okay? And unless someone had upset a glass of water, the mark on page 177 were from tears. So he talked about the book, and here he talked about the place. It introduced the passage main character. Wallahi, he didn't mention any character here in the first or last. No character. Thank you. It indicates the date. No date. No date. It conveys the past setting. Yes, you talk about the place. Al Gather restaurant, Schrader Road. By describing a place, yes, and an object. Yeah, the object is the book or the page. It describes an important event that leads to understand historical resolution. No important event. It's just the setting and an object. Clear, chat?
Yes.
13. I have chat and al-muqayyid. Again, the main purpose. Many times, the main purpose, first sentence, last sentence, the answer is on them. There is yet another approach. Many times you give me the word another. Another. Instead of rooting ethics in character or the consequences of action, we can focus on our actions themselves. Okay? So there's the other approach. And this explanation for it. According to this approach, that he said another approach, the valuation can still be bad, even it would make everybody better off. Okay. It develops the counter argument to claim that greed is good. Wallah, we didn't talk about greed. Nothing talk about greed, first and last sentence. It provides support for the idea that ethics is about character. No, he said instead of rooting ethics in character, instead. So the opposite. It described a third approach. He mentioned approach, another approach, this approach to defining ethical economics. He mean devaluation, and they talk about ethics and to make everybody, but mainly I didn't find this part, defining ethical economics. Okay, wait now, because we find the third approach, another approach, this approach. Let's look at D. If it's not right, I'm going to return back to C, and I have to read now the whole paragraph. It illustrates that one's action are a result of one's character. No, he said we can focus on our action themselves. He didn't say that they are a result of one character. Focus on action themselves. Okay, so now let's read the whole paragraph or the part that we didn't read to find if there's something talk about definition of ethical economics. Here he said, from this perspective, some things are right, some wrong. We should buy fair trade goods. We shouldn't tell lies in advertisement. Ethics, okay, becomes a list of commandments, a catalog of do's and don'ts. When a finance official refuses to devalue a currency because they have promised not to, they are defining ethics this way. Thank you. Defining ethical economics. So the answer is C.
Mister, I still
Yes.
don't understand, to be honest, Mister.
Which one?
This one.
Okay. Here we're going to read the first and last sentence. Actually, we didn't find anything talk about greed. We didn't find anything talk about ethics, about character, because here he said instead of rooting ethics in character. So the opposite. It described a third approach to defining ethical economics. He talked about approach, another approach, and here he took approach. So maybe, but the problem, I didn't find the definition for ethical economics. D, it illustrates that one action are a result of one's character. He said only here that we can focus on our actions themselves. He didn't say that it's the results of one's character. He doesn't mention that the action because of the character. So now I need to be sure that this one, because I didn't find defining ethical. Because of that, I read the part that I didn't read. And I find here that he said are defining ethics. Clear, Abdullah?
Yes, clear, Mister.
Okay. So for the people that they got wrong, Shahd, clear?
Yes.
Al-Muqayyad, clear?
Yeah.
Number 14, alhamdulillah, no one get it wrong. Number 15, I have Shahd. Yes, Shahd. Okay. Which choice best describes the overall structure of the text? Thank you. I like this. Why? It's a summary. A summary. And I told you before, when we come to answer the overall structure, read the first sentence and look at the first part of the answers and find which one match. The other that's gonna be continue with us, we're gonna read the others part of the paragraph, then return back here. Okay, here he said, Ken settled on the chukar partridge as a model species but he might not have made his discovery without a key piece of advice from the local rancher Montana was supplying him with birds. Okay, let's find. It revealed Ken Dial's motivation for undertaking his project. No, he talked about that he will not make this kind of discovery without a key piece of advice from one is called local rancher. No, it's not motivation. It underscored the certain differences between laboratory and field research. No, he didn't mention any kind of contrast between laboratory and field research. It shows how an unanticipated piece of information influenced Ken Dial's research. Yes, a key piece of advice, unanticipated piece of information. Without this key piece of advice, he will not know about this kind of discovery. So maybe C. It introduced a key contributor to the tree down theory. Okay, it's a key contributor, but tree down theory, it wasn't mentioned. So I'm going to say that let's go with C and D. Let's now continue the rest of the paragraph and find which one will match. When the cowboy stopped by to see how things, cowboy is the local rancher, how things were going, Ken showed him his nice tight laboratory setup and explained how the bird's first hops and flights would be measured. The rancher was incredulous, surprised. Because of that, he gave him advice. He took one look and said in pretty colorful language, "What are those birds doing on the ground? They hate to be on the ground. Give them something to climb on." Aha, this advice. At first, it seemed unnatural. Ground birds don't like the ground. But as he thought about it, Ken realized that all the species he'd watched in the wild preferred to rest on ledges, low branches, or other elevated perch where they were safe from predators. They really only use the ground for feeding and traveling. So he changed his mind. He did the advice. He accomplished it. He brought in some hay bales for the chucker to perch on, and then left his son in charge of feeding and data collection while he went away on a short work trip. Thank you. So, which part now? And then it shows Dial modified procedure. He modified. He brought hay bales to meet the new information. Yes, let's find this. And then it represents his methods. He didn't talk about his methods. So the answer is C. Shahd, clear?
Yes.
16 also, Shah. The main purpose, Shah. First sentence, last sentence. Unfortunately here, that the text is only 2 sentences. Here he said this hypothesis, Shah. Hypothesis can best be tested, meaning that you can do an experiment by a trial me experiment, wherein a small number of commercial honeybee colonists are offered a number of preferred producing plants, as well as a typical bee food source such as clover. While controls, you know that in the experiment, we have control that you manage them and other that varied, that you leave them to work alone. Control are offered only the clover. Mites could then be introduced to each hive. Mites are kind of bacteria or viruses, with note made at the choice of the bees and the effects of the mite parasites on the experimental colonies versus control colonies. Wait, teacher. This is an experiment, only an experiment. It summarized the results. Wallah, no results. It's an experiment. He didn't give me the results. Nothing. It proposed an experiment, yes, to investigate how different diets, yes, he talked about clover as a kind of food. He talked about food. Affect commercial honeybee, yes, and we're talking about the bees. Cause susceptibility to mite infestation, we're talking about mite here, so it can be the answer. It provide a comparative nutritional analysis of the honey. We didn't talk about the honey. We're talking about honeybees, not honey. It predicts the most likely outcome. Wallahi, we didn't talk about the result or the outcome. So the answer is B. Clear, chat?
Yes.
17. Shahd and Rinat. Shahd and Rinat. Again, I'm doing the first sentence. Then look at the first part. Because if the third sentence doesn't match, it will not match at all. Okay. So which choice best describes the overall structure of the text? Let me read the first sentence. The problem of our age is the proper administration of wealth. The ties of brotherhood may still bind together the rich and poor in harmonious relationship. A personal history is narrated. Yes, he said our age. Our age. It's personal. A position is stated. Yes, it can be also position for being. It can also be a position. My position or the problem is the administration of wealth. Okay. Certain principles are stated. Again, it can be principles. Yes, it can be. Despite that, it's not principles. I'm sorry. It's only one principle. No. It's only one principle. It's only one principle, not principles. A historical period is described. No period, no history. Okay. So now I'm between A or B. Let's find the other sentences now. In former days means in the past, there was little difference between the dwelling, dress, food, and environment of the chief and those of his retainers. The contrast between the palace of the millionaire and the cottage of the laborer with us today measure the change which has come with civilization. Without wealth, the good old times were not good old times. Neither master nor servant was as well situated then as today. A relapse means return back to old condition would be disastrous, something bad to both. Not the least so to him who served, and would sweep away civilization with it. But whether the change be for good or ill, it's upon us, beyond our power to alter, and therefore to be accepted and made the best of. It's a waste of time to criticize the inevitable. Okay? So inevitable means something that you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. And this is a kind of advice. So let's find which one. Historical examples are given. No examples. No examples. No examples. Okay, let's look here. Historical context is given. Yes, you talk about informal days. So it can be historical context. Then earnest advice is given. Yes, it's a waste of time to criticize the inevitable. Clear, chat?
Yes.
Renat, clear? Thumb up. Where is the thumb up? Look, I want to be sure that you don't find it. Renat. Hello, Renat. I
Sir,
told you. Yes,
Mr. Is the period 1 hour and a half or more?
I don't know until we finish, Abdullah.
Mr. But like I'm very sleepy right now, so I can't really focus that much. And like if it's more than an hour and a half, I don't know if I can stay awake.
Okay, just wake up, Abdullah, until we arrive to the part, because I have to revise this domain. Okay, the answers. Okay.
Okay.
Number 18, all of you got it. No, Muhammad Abul Khair, and he's not here. Okay. As used in text, what does the phrase not readily favorable most nearly mean? Again, I'm going to go to the connotation, positive or negative. If I didn't find that the connotation works, I'm going to go to the context clue. Unable to be authenticated, negative. Likely to be contradicted, negative. Without empirical support, negative. Sorry, look at the negative, the last one. Not completely understood, negative, thank you. It will not work, the connotation now. Let's look now at the context clue. My emotions are complicated and not readily favorable. What come before and come after. And what come before it equal to what come after it. So complicated, it will give me of the meaning not completely understood. I'm not going to say that you got it or not. I'm going to go to 19 and I have shahd and al-muqayyid. Again, vocab. Which choice complete the text with the most logical and precise word? I need to complete it. Again, let's make the negative and positive connotation. Conflicts, negative. Mismatches, negative. Collisions, negative. Brawls, negative. Thank you. It will work now with the context clue. Many more dilemma means problem. arises, so it's going to be negative as we know, arises when these three versions pull in different direction, but are not inevitable. Inevitable will come many times in the questions. Inevitable means cannot be avoided, can be avoided. Okay, mister.
Mr.
Yes,
Isn't it read as dilemmas?
dilemmas. Yes. I said it
Yeah.
what?
Dilemmas, Mr.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just reading
No,
it
it's okay.
quickly.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. But just wait, Abdullah. No, it can be long also, Abdullah. It can be dilemma.
Really?
Yes. It
I've
can be
never
long.
heard anybody use it as dilemma. Yes.
No, it can be long and short.
Okay,
It can
sure.
be with the schwa and it can be with the long I, dilemma or dilemma, both of them. Okay. And let me
Okay.
check also because it came in my mind right now. Yes, Abdullah, both. But the most common one is dilemma.
Yeah, because I've never heard dilemma before.
I'm gonna send it to you also to the group just to be sure about it. Did you get it?
No, not yet. خلاص إن شاء الله بتيجي هسه. Now we got it. Yes.
Okay, look at the first part with schwa, dilemma. The second one, you find D, and this that has a short dash means long I, dilemma. Clear? Clear?
Clear, Mr.
Abdullah.
Yeah, clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is a kind of conflict? It can be conflict because it's negative. Mismatch will not happen with dilemma or dilemma. It will not happen. Mismatch with man and woman. Collision, it's kind of accident, and we didn't talk about any kind of accident. Rules like deceiving, it will not happen here. So it's better to say conflict. Clear, chat?
Yes.
Okay. Muqayyad, clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So 20. Number 20. In number 20, I have Shah only. Vocab also Shah. Let's look at the connotation. Average, it's neutral. Shared, it's better to be positive. Course, it's neutral also. What do you think? Course is neutral or what? Who knows? The one want to answer? Okay.
Course with A
Course
or U,
means
yeah, Mr.
common, but it's positive or negative?
Course
It's
is A
neutral.
or with U?
No, course, not course.
Isn't course negative?
No, it's common. We're talking about common. So
Mr.
I think
course, is it with the A?
yes, OA.
C-O. Okay, I don't know what it means actually.
Common, something common.
Okay. So negative,
What do you think?
right?
What do you think, Muhammad? I think it's neutral, not positive, not negative.
I think it's negative, yeah.
Negative?
It's negative
Yes.
because are you sure it means calm? Maybe he means like rough course thing.
Maybe
Rough.
yes. Yeah. It can be negative. Okay. Similar. Don't tell me that this is positive. No. It can be neutral, positive or negative. So I'm not going to solve it with connotation. So let's find out. It seems to us incontestable. No competition. There is no competition that our common happiness. So someone is going to say that it's course because you're right that it's mean common. But here he said incontestable. No competition. So it's not common as negative. It means shared here. Shared. Yes, Abdullah, what do you want to say?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Sorry.
I'm sorry?
I kept the mic open by
Okay.
mistake.
اوكي يا عبد الله، ده انت هتتفضح فضايح. Incontestable, so no competition, no competition, no competition, so it's shared. Clear chat?
Yes.
Okay. 21 also شهد and المقيد. vocab, appearance neutral, custom neutral, structure neutral, nature neutral. So let's find the context clue. Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Break all tradition. He didn't move on the tradition. He didn't follow his tradition. Was that it? These are kind of questions. Had he followed? So I need something like look like tradition. Because here he starts explaining it. Had he asked his mother to speak to his father to approach go-between? So this he asked about the tradition. So the only word that means tradition here is custom. Custom and tradition. Clear, chat?
Yes.
مقيد clear?
Yeah.
Okay. 22. Shah. Again, Shah. Overall structure means the summary. So you're going to look at the first sentence and find the first sentence of each one here, the first part. Here he said, Match Lean Passon B, a historian and citizen of the Chukatua Nation, has identified a dilemma or a dilemma inherent to research on the status of women in her tribe during the 16th and 17th. So she wanted to make a kind of research. And here there is a problem. The primary sources from the era, travel narratives. I think we saw this together before in one of the sheets. Travel narratives and other accounts by male European colonizer underestimates the degree of the power conferred on Chukatu women by their traditional, oh my God, all of this, it's one sentence? No, here, okay. Traditional roles in political, civic, and ceremonial life. So now there is a problem that happened to this tribe, that they depend on primary sources like travel narrative for European colonizers. Because of that, they disagree or they degrade, they degrade the status of women. Okay. It details the shortcomings of certain historical resources. Yes, there's weaknesses in the primary sources. It describes a problem that arises in a research or particular topic. Yes, there's a problem in research. It lists the advantages. No advantages. No something positive here. It characterizes a particular topic as especially challenging to research. No, he didn't say that it's challenging. He said only that there's a problem that they made while they are depending on primary sources. So between A and B. Let's continue the last sentence to find. Okay. Basum B argued that Chukatua oral tradition and finding from archaeological sites in the tribe's homeland supplement the written record by providing crucial insight into those roles. So now she provides for us how she can solve this problem. By depending on the oral traditions and finding of the tribes. So let's find here. He said, then argues that research should avoid those sources altogether. No, she didn't say that we should avoid them. Let's find here. Then sketch a historian approach, yes, to depend on oral tradition to addressing that problem, yes. So the answer is B. Clear, chat?
Yes.
Okay. شهد راما and المقيد. شهد راما and المقيد. Based on the text, how would the research of text 2 respond to text 1? Okay. So I'm going to read text 2 and then I'm going to find how he's going to reply to text 1. Here he said the researcher thus conclude that range and anxiety may be an overstated concern, since EVs can meet the daily travel needs of more than 85% of US drivers, and even after losing 20% of their originally rated battery capacity. So we talk about something positive. They also conclude that batteries can satisfy daily mobility requirements for the full lifetime of an electric vehicle. Positive. Here he mentioned that it's positive. This EV is positive. EV means electric vehicle. Let's find out. With present today technology, however, electric vehicle, EV, cannot compete. Negative. So this will not accept this. With internal combustion vehicle, according to one review, energy density 2 and 5 times greater are required to meet the performance goals of a future generation of plug-in hybrid electric vehicles with a 40-80 mile all-electric range and all-electric vehicle EVs with a 300-400 mile range, respectively. To make the leap, scientists will have to find new couplings of battery material. So here, he talk about positive, so he's going to say that I'm not going to accept your point of view. So they would argue that it's likely impossible to meet the performance need. No, here he's going to say that it will meet. It will meet. They would claim that most electric car drivers need batteries that can last for more than 400 miles. This he will say no. He will talk about the 400 miles. It's text 1, no text 2. I need the reply from the point of view of text 2. They would agree that electric car batteries don't currently meet the needs of most US drivers. No. Text 2, he would say that it will meet. They would assert the electric vehicle likely have performance ranges greater than initially thought. Yes. Because it satisfies daily mobility requirements. So it have performance range greater than initially thought when he took to that one. So clear, chat?
Yes.
مقيد clear?
Yeah.
Okay. 24. Yes,
Yes,
مقيد.
sir. I just want to take a picture. Can you go back?
I'm gonna send it for you. Okay.
It's just so I can remember which one I had a mistake.
Okay. Yes. 24. We have Shahd and Rinat. 24. Shahd and Rinat. Again, based on the text, the author of text 1 and the author of text 2 would most likely agree with which statement. I need the point of agreement between both of them. So whether you're going to read text 1 first, text 2 first, I don't care. I need the agreement. Still, researchers are hopeful of a breakthrough. They can now use computing to accelerate the discovery of new electrode and electrolyte systems. This creates a positive feedback loop in which computing informs experiment and experimental results help refine the computing process. This high throughput iterative process may be scientists' ultimate hope for discovering material that can significantly improve the electrochemical performance, safety, and cost of batteries. So he talked about some kind of improving to the battery. Let's find here. With today's electric vehicle EV batteries, end of life is commonly defined as when the storage capacity drops down to 70 to 80% of the original capacity. As capacity fades, the vehicle range decreases. Berkeley research decided to investigate the extent to which this vehicle can still meet the needs of drivers. So improvement. Both of them talk about the improvement beyond this common battery retirement threshold. Okay. So humans need to stop using fossil fuel as an energy source. Nothing of them talk about that. Researching, yes, improvement, research. The performance of electric car batteries is a worthwhile endeavor, yes. Both of them, they want to meet the drivers. Both of them want to improve the capacity of batteries. The travel needs of US drivers, take care, he doesn't talk about US, he talk about whole drivers, are likely greater than anticipated. No. Here he mentioned drivers, but no US. Electric cars will soon become more popular than internal combustion vehicle. No, he doesn't talk about that. He talk about the battery. The main thing for them right now is the battery, improvement of the battery. So, Shahd, clear?
Yes.
Rinat, clear? Searching for the thumb up. Okay. She clapped for me now. 25. Shahd. Again, Shahd. Which choice best describe the overall structure? Look at the first sentence because this is a summary. This is a summary. Earlier this year, a series of papers in the Lancet reported that 85% of the $265 billion spent each year on medical research is wasted. So we talk about the problem, and we read this before in one of the passages up. So an explanation of a phenomenon is given, no explanation for any phenomenon. The identification of a problem is proposed, yes, here is a problem. A prediction for the future is stated, nothing about the future. The introduction of an argument is mentioned, can be an argument, maybe it's an argument. So now let's go, it's between B and D. Let's look now at the rest of the paragraph, the text, I'm sorry. It's because too often absolutely nothing happens after initial result of a study are published. No one uses the finding to build new technologies. The center will explore the best way to make, so how to solve this problem. To explore the best way to make scientific investigation more reliable and efficient. For example, there is a lot of interest in collaborative team science, study registration, a stronger study design and statistical tools, and better peer review, along with making scientific data analysis and protocol widely available so that others can replicate experiment, thereby fostering trust in the conclusion of those studies. So a problem, then how they solve the problem? Let's find B. And the proposal for solving this problem is issued, yes. Here, and the counterclaim refuting this argument, no, he didn't refute it. He just tell us how we can solve this problem. Clear, chat?
Yes.
Okay. 26, Muhammad Abul Khair, Rama al-Muqayyad. Cross-text connection. Based on the text, the author of text 1 and the author of text 2 would most likely agree with which statement? I need the point of agreement between both of them. The point of agreement between both of them. Men being, as has been said, by nature all free, equal, and independent, no one can be put out of this state and subjected to the political power of another without his own consent, without his own approval. The only way whereby anyone divests himself of his natural liberty and parts on the bonds of civil society is by agreeing with other men to join and unite into community for their comfortable, safe, and peaceful living one amongst another in a secure enjoyment of their properties and a great security against any that are not of it. This any number of men may do. They can do that to join a community like we do right now. Because it injures not the freedom of the rest, they are left as they were in the liberty of the state of nature. So if you are gonna get injured, no, keep in your state of nature. Keep you alone. When any number of men have so consented to make one community or government, they are thereby presently incorporated and make one body politic wherein the majority have a right to act and conclude the rest. Let's look here. The social contract should increase the well-being and liberty of every citizen. So also talk about the freedom. Talk about the freedom. If any one-sided condition should slip in, if one part of citizens should find themselves by the contract subordinated and exploited by the other, it would no longer be a contract. It would be a fraud against which annulment might at any time be invoked justly. Okay, let's find here. They both acknowledge that participation in society increase the liberty of every individual. No, here he said that some people, that if they're not matching in the community, it will decrease and it will not going to be a contract. They both agree that participation in society increase the liberty of a limited number of citizens. No, not a limited. Here he must increase the liberty of all. Here what he said. If it's only limited, so it's not going to be contract and it's not going to be good. The author of text 1 believe that participation in society increase the liberty of those in the majority? Yes. Yes. While the author of text 2 believes that it doesn't increase liberty for anyone? No. He said that in just join social contract mean joining the community. It will increase the liberty of everyone, every citizen. So no. The author of text 1 believe that participation in society decreases individual liberty? Yes, he maybe say that. Because even he mentioned here that if you don't like, you can keep on the state of nature. And he said that the majority will decide for the rest. So maybe. While the author of text 2 believe that it increased them, yes, here he believed that it will increase liberty for every citizen. So the answer is D. Clear? Muhammad Abul Khair?
Isn't here.
Clear?
It's clear, yeah, but
Okay.
I'm
Yes, tell me.
مقيد, not أبو الخير.
I'm sorry, مقيد. I'm sorry. I just read it up because Muhammad Abul Khair wasn't. Also, he get it as wrong. Okay. 27. All of you got it right. Let me close this. And I'm gonna send you the answer key right now. I'm not gonna extend the timing because I know that you spend today without doing anything. But the next period is when?
Tuesday.
Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes? Okay.
Yeah.
And Tuesday, I want you to wake up, please, because we have to finish the domain. The third
Okay.
domain, you know that it's nothing. It's nothing at all.
The
Nothing.
third domain?
Okay? The fourth, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The fourth domain.
Yeah, I thought so. Because you said we're going to take the fourth before the
Yeah,
third.
yeah. Even the third domain, it's easy. Actually, each one must take only one period to spend the other periods for solving tests.
Only?
Yes.
Okay.
You have only this week in the coming. We don't have too much time.
I know.
Okay. See you inshallah on Tuesday. Goodbye. I'm gonna send
Goodbye,
this
Mr.
record.
Bye, Mr.
Bye. Bye.